Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my Ochako boot tutorial. I know it's been a while since I uploaded part 1, so if you haven't grown old and retired already, stick around for some more thrilling content. So in the last installment, we made our pattern to achieve draft boot number 1. So from this we can transfer the pattern onto draft boot number 2, made out of the EVA foam we want to use for the final boots. Simply cut out draft boot number 1, copy that pattern onto thick foam, and assemble it to make sure it will actually work with the thick foam. Now, I'm no expert when it comes to foam crafting, so I researched a lot to make this happen. I would highly recommend using similar references when constructing your own boots, because there are very specific ways you need to cut, shape, glue, prime, paint EVA foam. I put links to the videos I used in the description. Most of them are from Evil Ted Smith videos, so definitely check them out to achieve a somewhat decent outcome. I'll also put links to the materials that I used, but there is a video on Evil Ted Smith's channel that has the set of materials that you actually need to do all of this. You can see here that I've finished draft boot number 2, and I found that the thick foam didn't leave enough room for my shoe to fit. This is why we made test boot number 2. So I extended the areas of the pattern to make the boots wider. I found that the odd shape of the boots made gluing tricky, so I would recommend gluing small sections at a time, which will prevent areas like this sticking together accidentally. Something else I ended up modifying was the length of the foot segment. Again, with the foam being thicker, it didn't allow much room for my shoe. Instead of changing the pattern itself this time, I glued in a couple of extra thin pieces of foam at the curve of the foot near the ankle. This extended the foot, but also made it easier to curve the foam in and was slightly more flexible. A tool like this was honestly a great idea. It's an old school ruler with sandpaper glue to it to help sand down over the curved surface of the boots. I used 120 grit first, then went over with 320 grit. Safety equipment is a must when sanding. Cat face optional. As a final buffer, I went over with 400 grit sandpaper dipped in water. So gosh darn smooth. Next, we fill in those cracks. I smoothed out a razor blade and used it for applying spack filler like so. I wanted this to be super smooth, so after I'd applied the spack filler, I just dipped my finger in water and smoothed out the edges. Also, heed my warnings. Check what type of spack filler you want before buying. You need the stuff for movable surfaces. It's more flexible and shouldn't crack as much while you walk. I didn't do this, and now my boots look a little bit like the Grand Canyon. Once that's done and the spack filler is dry, I cleaned the surface with soap and water, then applied a few layers of Mod Podge. I think I did 3, but you'll be able to see post-paint job that the sanding left some fluffy texturing on the back and was kind of visible. I would recommend more layers of Mod Podge to counteract this if you experience the same problem. Also, be careful, it's messy. This is my setup to keep the boot standing while we paint it, and make sure that you've got your protective equipment on, because spray painting is bad for your lungs. To be safe, I applied about 5 layers of rubberized coating, which was going to help the paint not crack as I walk. Then on top of that, I applied like a million layers of spray paint. I went through 2 cans. So this is how the boot turned out. You can see the darkened areas where the fluffy bits I was talking about affected the paint colour, but in the sunlight and in photos it didn't actually show up, so it worked out alright. So for the boots I was wearing underneath, I sprayed them with rubberized coating and then spray painted them pink and white to match.
They're not perfect, but good enough.
Now to attach the boots to my shoes, I used an elastic and buckle system. I marked out where I wanted the buckles to be glued and then attached those buckles to the elastic that I sewed to my shoes. Now the next problem I ran into was trying to buckle the shoes onto the boots while I was wearing them. So instead I kept them buckled on, tied a bit of string to the back of the shoe inside, put my foot in and then pulled that until my foot eventually went into the shoe. It worked. It worked. Plus the elastic was great for allowing movement. Anyway, thanks to those of you who have been really patient and stuck around and actually waited for part 2 of this one. I know it's been like a few centuries since I promised to upload, but thanks anyway for watching. I hope this helped, and I don't know!